This episode of the D-Lou podcast is brought to you by Jersey Rebel Clothing. We're talking tees, hoodies, and hats, built for the ones who don't follow the trends, they set them. If you move different, think different, and refuse to blend in, this is your lane. And remember the mission: authenticity over conformity. Stay real, stand out, and wear it with pride. Official launch is June 1st. Don't miss it. Tap in at jerseyrebelclothing.com and on social media at Jersey Rebel Clothing. By WWE Shop with Fanatics, your official home for WWE merchandise. Grab gear from your favorite WWE superstars like CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Rhea Ripley, and so many more. Whether you're repping at the arena or at home, this is where fans come to show love for their favorite WWE superstars. Check it out now at wrestling.thedlupodcast.com for WWE Shop with Fanatics. By Goalie Nutrition. If you're trying to support your wellness in a simple, tasty way, Goalie makes it easy. From daily health gummies to supplements designed to fit your routine, it's all about small habits that add up over time. It's not about doing everything at once. It's about staying consistent and building better every day. Head over to goalie.thedlupodcast.com and use promo code DLEW at checkout to get 10% off your order. Fuel your grind, stay consistent, and take care of yourself using Goalie Nutrition. Again, that's promo code DLEW to get 10% off your order at Goalie Nutrition. And by Simpler Hair Color. If you're looking for an easy, no stress way to keep your hair looking fresh, Simpler Hair Color is exactly that. Designed for convenience and a natural look, it's made for people who want results without the hassle of complicated routines or long salon visits. Just simple, clean, confident style whenever you need it. Head over to simpler.thedlupodcast.com and use promo code DLEW10 at checkout to get 10% off your order. Again, that's simpler.thedlupodcast.com and use promo code DLEW10 at checkout to get 10% off your order. Look sharp, feel confident, and keep it simple. Welcome to another edition of the D-Lou podcast, powered by Believe Network and Siete Media. I'm your host, Derrick T. Lewis, and of course my co-host is the matriarch of the D-Lou podcast. Whenever we talk about the world of professional wrestling or anything else for that matter, the one and only Gabby. Gabby, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I am good. We have a lot to talk about on this post Wrestlemania 42 show. Wrestlemania 42 was this past weekend. And oh boy, there was a lot to get into regarding that. However, I did not talk to you about this. Wrestling aside, the WNBA and the contracts that are now being signed that are in the multi-millions. I got to get your opinion on that because I know you're very close to women's basketball with Unrivaled and everything else. So talk to me a little bit about what this means in the immediate and distant future for the WNBA.
The ladies are finally getting paid their worth. And then you have to look at it too. They added in some clauses where if you are retired, you now get additional money as well. So not only to look out for the current, look out for the past and the future as well. I mean, look at last year, Paige went number one, and I think her salary was like $77,000. AZ went number one this year, and I think she's 300,000. Like, it's insane the amount of money that they're getting this year. So like, kudos to them. I love it. I'm here for it. And I hope that they get more profit share this year. They also got profit share.
Yeah, to me, obviously the league is the W is, obviously in its 31st season, and I've always
30th
wondered
this year.
the 30th this year, right? 30th this year. And I kept wondering as far as why isn't it being marketed the way that it is for the men? Now, granted, the NBA has come a long way. I remember growing up some of the games were on tape delay. You know what I mean? And it wasn't until David Stern took over the league in '84, and then you had obviously Bird and Magic, in that rivalry with the Celtics and the Lakers back then. And
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jordan was coming along, and it just made the game. To me, the '92 Dream Team is what helped to me make the game go global. And I was
Mm-hmm.
just wondering why the brass behind the W wasn't using that same philosophy from a marketability perspective to market these women. I mean, the league was built off of really, let's be real about it, the 1996 women's basketball team, the Olympic team. That's what the WNBA was built off of. Those stars that were on that team: Dawn Staley, Lisa Leslie, my girl Rebecca Lobo, Cheryl Swoops. The list goes on and on of all of these legendary figures that were
Mm-hmm.
on that squad. And to me, I'm number one, I'm glad that they're taking care of those veterans,
Mm-hmm.
similar to how the NFL does with with their players. There's a they get some type of pension that they get every
Mm-hmm.
year. So I'm hoping this is the beginning of something down the road where these women or these legends are getting paid as well as these girls are getting paid, because they definitely deserve it.
Agreed. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, again, we're going to talk about WrestleMania, the card itself, in just a little bit. There's a lot of other business we have to get into. First and foremost, the logistics of the hotel situation at the MGM in Las Vegas. Word was getting around that it was not security friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Fans were doing some really really horrible things, bombarding people, taking videos of people. As a matter of fact, there was just Booker T was just talking about on his podcast how he went to the bathroom to go use it, and there were fans legitimately videotaping Booker T on their phone while he's using the bathroom. I'm just like, yo, guys, WTF? And I think the shit hits the fan. What was it? Was it Sunday night after night two? Was it AJ and I think Bailey were in, I think, in the lobby? They were hugging or
Mm-hmm.
what have you, and there was this guy legitimately like recording them. Bailey was trying to push him away, and then CM Punk comes and slaps the phone out of the guy's hands. And the guy's talking about, I want an apology. First and foremost, let me just tell you something, man. For anybody that's doing any type of creepy shit like that, you deserve to have your phone slapped away from you, and you need to be punched in the face. I don't condone violence, but it's one thing of, if you're at a meet and greet or what have you, you meet a wrestler. There's been instances where I've met wrestlers in public, and have I asked for pictures? Yes. Have they been gracious to me? Yes, they have. But to bombard them, and especially in private moments, that there's been instances I've seen wrestlers in private moments. I'll give you an example. I got SmackDown tickets from a really good friend of mine that was working at WWE back in 2018. The show was in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. After the show was over, I was heading down the highway, and there was a rest stop there, and I was hungry and I wanted to get something to eat. Who did I see in the lobby? I saw Daniel Bryan. He was on the phone, and I would imagine he was on the phone with his wife. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
did? Head nod, kept walking. Because I knew at that moment that was an intimate time for him. He did not want to be bothered, and I was not going to be the one that was going to bother him.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that, again, we're very passionate, wrestling fans especially, but guys, you gotta chill for real, because it's like it's getting to the point where it's like, yo, one of these wrestlers are gonna punch you in the face and you're not gonna like it.
Yep.
And don't think that these women don't hit you either. Won't hit you, because they
Exactly.
will.
Yeah, for sure. It's unfortunate that that's where we are, but like people just don't understand boundaries nor respect them.
It's insane. And the fact that WWE did not have, because let me tell you something. When I don't know what hotel you were staying at, but at when the press okay, so the press junket at WrestleMania 39 when we were in LA was at the I forgot, it was at the Ritz Carlton, the really tall hotel that's right downtown, right by the Staples Center.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the WWE hotel was, and I was only permitted there simply for the press junket, and that's it. It was a 2-day press junket. That was the only time I was there for. The only reason that I was even allowed in there after the fact is one of my really good friends was staying there, and she told security, "Hey, let him in," because she wanted
Mm-hmm.
me to come in. I didn't want to go because I'm like, I don't want to feel out of place, and there was even some media folks just like, "Yo, D, you good? Come on in." So I did, but if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't, and I just stayed away. You know what I'm saying? There was
Mhm.
wrestlers, and to me, it's like some of them don't even know me. That the only people that I did talk to was Austin Rome from the ring announcer. Well, Mike Rome. I'm calling by his real name, Mike Rome, the ring announcer. That's the only person that I had a chance to talk to. That was it. Other than that, it was just like, nah, bro. Like, I don't understand, man. It's like, and it makes fans look bad. And again, we all love the product, we love it, but calm down because it's not look it doesn't make the fans, it doesn't make fans look good. But also WWE, you guys got to do a better job. I mean, hell, you're charging an astronomical amount of money for these tickets, and I'm gonna get to that in a second. But y'all can't hire top-notch security to ensure these type of things do not happen.
Yeah, it's insane.
I mean, come on, man. That's it's crazy. But like I said, WrestleMania 2 night event, and it started off with the host of WrestleMania, John Cena. Now I know on last week's episode, you and I had talked about, was this something that was in the cards all along, or this was something to garner some more attention and push those ticket sales? I think, I kind of got on board with you in regards to, yeah, I think this was something that they wanted to push to have Cena there. And I'm sure he got paid very, very handsomely, I might
Mhm.
add, to start. But he was in a suit. But is it me, or did he resemble a certain former CEO of WWE? I mean, if they were to ever do a biopic on VKM, there's your guy right there.
No comment.
I mean,
Not
I guess I
touching
had to
that
be the
one.
one. I mean, I had to be the one to say it, but I'm just like, is it he? Okay. Anyways, but it was nice to see him. And I'm sure like he almost choked up a little bit because that was the first time he had been around WWE since December 13th after his retirement.
Mhm.
You really didn't see John Cena around. He was just off doing John Cena things with his career. But it was good to see John Cena, to hear that music one more time, and him walking down the aisle and not running like he used to do. But he was in a suit with no more jorts, no more t-shirt, no more hat, no more wristbands or anything. That it was just John Cena as the host. And to be honest, we only saw John Cena 4 times,
Mhm.
the opening each night, and then when he read the official attendance for that night. So that's the only times. So we really
The host
didn't get.
really isn't involved. I mean, in general, if you think about the host, they're really just there to open it and send you home. They're really there is no longer a need for like a someone. You know what I mean? Like it's a title by title. Like there's no like nothing behind it.
Yeah, but it's like for me, it's like there were. What was crazy is that there was no backstage vignettes. There were no anything. There was no type of like involvement because I thought there would have been a vignette of like Cena doing something backstage,
But you know what there were? Commercials. Tons of them.
and that's what we're gonna get into right now. Now, I get it. When they made the move to Netflix, at the beginning of last year, I mean, obviously WWE had. I'm sure there was some type of thing that's saying, "Hey, we're going to the streaming platform where we're going to get ad revenue from." Because let's be real, when you're getting a Burger King, a McDonald's, Snickers, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, whatever the brands are, Liberty Mutual Insurance,
Mhm.
Geico, Nationwide, all these entities, WWE relies on that ad revenue.
Mhm.
I mean, hell, even on this podcast, there are ads for a reason. A brother got to get kickback. You know what I mean? We got to get kickback. But the problem is that damn, it was overkill. I mean, when you talk about 5 minutes of commercials in each between each segment, I'm like, what are we doing?
Also on night two, they ran 30 minutes of ads for Hulk Hogan's thing. And it's like, read the room.
That was
Read
another
the
thing.
room. Read
Yeah,
the
they
room,
were.
ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
they had it, but now I get it because Hulk Hogan's documentary, as we're recording this on a Tuesday, this is going to be his documentary on Netflix is going to be debuting on the 22nd. So it would have already have been debuting on Netflix by the time you guys get this. But I'll have my feelings on that in just a second. But they had to advertise it because they were harping on the fact this is the first WrestleMania without Hogan since he passed away last July. So I understand. I understand. And trust me, we all have our feelings about that situation. We all have our feelings about, things that were said and that type of thing. But obviously, WWE, they want to stay face. They want to be able to say, hey, he was a pioneer in this company and he helped the company get to where it was and all that. And I get it. But they really like ran that ad a lot. And I'm just like, wow. It was just,
You know what else was really interesting that I noticed? WrestleMania, that ladder match. Where were their entrances? I've never
it's,
seen WrestleMania cut entrances before.
yeah,
That's crazy. Like
yeah.
they started it and people were already in the ring, and like obviously they had their entrance in the stadium, but it's like
Dragon Lee didn't get his entrance. Um,
Rusev.
Rusev, yeah. I'm like, how do you do that?
Exactly.
Now, I hope that on the replay they actually have those entrances. That's what I'm hoping because they can actually do that now, but they can go back and edit and they can do some editing or whatever and get those entrances on there. But in my mind, I'm like, why is Dragon Lee already in the ring? This ain't Raw. This ain't
Yeah, so I think
SmackDown.
exactly. But they were running Hogan hats during that time. It's just like, all right, man. All right.
That was crazy. And like I said, again with TKO and all that they're doing, and it's crazy. And there was a audio clip I think it surfaced yesterday on social media. WWE, I'm not WWE, a TKO, I guess CEO, I guess Mark Shapiro was at the University of Alabama doing a speech or doing some type of lecture, and he was talking about how kind of they're involved in creative. He said that's why you see an influx of celebrities like Jelly Roll and this person and that person and Pat McAfee and all of that. And I'm like, so you mean to tell me that you got a guy with over almost 40 years of wrestling experience in Triple H, who's the chief content officer of the company, who's responsible for all the storylines you see, but you're also going to trump anything that he does, or ideas that they have in mind. You want to intervene. So this all now makes sense on maybe Dwayne was telling the truth last year when he was on Pat McAfee. I think it was 2 days after WrestleMania. Similar to what we're doing today, I was actually recording on a Tuesday after WrestleMania when you got back. Um, and he said that Ari Emanuel needed more tickets to be sold in Toronto for Elimination Chamber, so they wanted The Rock to come in and boost some ticket sales. Maybe he was telling the truth, but it does not negate the fact that that storyline did not work. It didn't
Yeah.
fit because there was no conclusion to it.
Yeah.
You saw skinny ass Travis Scott in the ring taking bumps. I'm just like, why? Why is it taking him 5 minutes to walk down the damn ramp?
Why did he get an entrance middle of the
Why did
match?
he get exactly? Why did he? I mean, it could have been. You know what? It could have been better if he just would have come from like the crowd or something like that, where he
Hmm.
wouldn't have this long like Undertaker like entrance. Undertaker's the only one that can have those type of long entrances because he's the freaking Undertaker.
Or actual wrestlers.
Actual wrestlers, you know what I mean? So that was just that was a cluster. And again, I can't put that on Triple H because his hands were probably tied.
Yeah.
It's like,
He's a figurehead.
what are you gonna do? Right. He's the Dana White of WWE. Because at the
Hmm.
end of the day, TKO runs WWE and in the UFC. Dana White might be the president and all of that or whatever, the CEO, but TKO, they make the final decisions.
Hmm.
Ticket prices, etc., etc. Now, of course, it was announced that night one was a 50,816, and night two was 55,256, which is a combined 106,072. So it was kind of similar to what happened at SummerSlam. SummerSlam had I think was it 53,000 or whatever it was, and the night two was 60,000. Obviously, because of I think the main event, obviously John Cena and Cody Rhodes, so people more like wanted to go see night two. So okay, cool. They broke 100,000. They made a lot of money. But still in all, I just feel as though that you probably would have matched what you had last year if you bring it could have been well, let's not forget, because at the Superdome they could fit 78,000 in there.
Hmm.
So they probably would have had maybe 150,000 instead of 100,000. You're talking about money that you probably missed out on by you thinking you want to be cute and go back to Vegas thinking you're going to you basically redo what you did last year, and folks were just like saying no, we're not doing it. You said you were not going back to Vegas
I meant
even
it.
before we found that they were going back to Vegas. So to me, in my mind, I'm like they missed out on they missed out
But
on some
then you
money.
also have to look at too, that number is just turn gate numbers. That doesn't mean those tickets were sold. WWE gave a lot of influencer tickets. They gave a lot of celebrity tickets. That doesn't mean tickets were sold. That's people
For
who came through the gate.
right
So hopefully they learned some lessons. We'll see. But like,
now, the barometer is going to be SummerSlam
yeah.
because the tickets go on. I think the pre-sale I think is on the 30th, and which is my daughter's birthday. So I don't know, but then I think the ticket then the regular sale goes on. I think maybe that Friday or whatever it might be. But I don't know. Like I'm interested to see because now, well, we'll get to this later. A match that we thought was going to happen at SummerSlam may not happen because so there you
Let's
have
work
it.
on that. We'll come back to it.
Yeah. So we go to the first match, of WrestleMania, and they open up night one with. And keep in mind, guys, they were showing the first two matches on ESPN2. Um, each on with the first night, and then of course the second night on ESPN one, the regular ESPN. But the first match was the Usos and LA Knight against Logan Paul, Austin Theory, and I Show Speed. Now, for those that know or don't know, I Show Speed was actually streaming his match. Somebody was in the crowd, like at ringside, and they had like I guess his the phone
GoPro.
on a pole, I guess, or whatever it was, and they were able to stream the match on his Twitch account. I actually went on Twitch and I realized, oh, they're a little bit of ahead because it's on, it's on a little, was it 7 second delay, what it might be or whatever.
Hmm.
So I'm like, oh, let me get off because I didn't want nothing to spoil. So I'm like, oh, this definitely makes sense because if this match was in the middle of the card, he would have been allowed to stream, and
Right.
because they were already giving this away, all right, Speed, you can go and stream your thing or whatever. So it was what it was. The match was 7 minutes and 8 seconds long. Tell me your thoughts of the match.
It did what it needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the I Show Speed got his little moment. Like, I mean, I think that's what the match did what it's supposed to do. Like, I don't have any like complaints or like I'm not going to give it a high praise either. Like, it was a cute match to lock in fans. It did its job.
Agreed. Now I will say this though, Speed is an incredible athlete.
Hmm.
I mean, this is no joke. I mean, this kid is for real. And it's funny because I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's what, the third or fourth youngest to ever wrestle at
Hmm.
WrestleMania, which I thought was funny. What was it? Was it him, Javon Evans, Rene Dupree at WrestleMania 20, and that kid Nicholas at WrestleMania 34. I was just
Hmm.
watching WrestleMania 34 the other day, and I'm just like, why do they have to do that to Cesaro and to Sheamus? A kid, really? All right, he was the that was the referee. I think John Combs. I think that was his son.
Hmm.
That's how he was able to get that. I just thought that was just funny. But yeah, that was it. That was 2018. It was 8 years ago. So that kid is 18 now. That's crazy. But to your point, it did do what it was supposed to do, because when you got a guy like Speed that has all this following, all this fanfare, all it's going to do is increase his stock in what he's doing on the outside. Now, will he return? I don't know. I mean, will I be shocked if he wrestles Logan Paul at SummerSlam? At this point, nothing's off the table.
Right.
I mean, let's be real. If we get Jelly Roll wrestling on SmackDown, first of all, which I'm just like, really? SmackDown? Really? Okay. Poor Kit Wilson. But anyways, yeah, of course, Division and I Show Speed do get the win because Speed accidentally hit Austin Theory, and of course, LA Knight BFT's Austin Theory gets the pin, and of course Logan Paul is reading him the riot act, talking about you cost us the win, and he knocks him out, and they're beating him up, and then they're gonna try to jump. Logan Paul was gonna attempt to jump on Speed onto the table. Of course, the Usos and LA Knight, they come back and they help Speed. Then they're laying LA Knight on the table, and Speed just jumps and does a frog splash off the top of that pole on the ring onto the table. And I'm just like, damn. But that was close to perfect as you can get for a non wrestler. So kudos to Speed, and I guess we'll see you at SummerSlam. I guess we'll put a pin on that one. The next match was an unsanctioned match. Jacob Fatu going up against Drew McIntyre. First off, I absolutely love the build up to this match. You know, it was a personal rivalry, and I love those because it really gives it more depth with the character and the storyline. But I loved Fatu's entrance, man. I absolutely did, paying homage to his Polynesian culture, and they have the fire and all that, and he was just looking like a complete badass walking down the ramp. And of course, you had Drew McIntyre. Is this gonna be a thing now where Drew McIntyre is gonna go to ringside and just take a picture? Of...
Yes.
It's almost like Pete Rose getting tombstone by Kane every year at
Yeah.
WrestleMania. Oh my god, that was funny. That was really really funny. Um, everything you went to talk about the match and what you liked about it and what you didn't like about it.
There wasn't anything. To me, it was one of the best matches of the night, top two easily. I'm glad to see Jacob getting a push. We'll see where it leads for him rather. It was a great match. No notes.
Yeah,
And one of the longer ones too, actually, I think. So yeah.
yeah, that if I'm not mistaken, that may have been the third longest match. And I think that was the only because it was only 3 matches over 10 minutes, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that in a second. But nonetheless, Jacob does get the win. Was he did a moonsault onto the table, on Drew McIntyre, and got the win. So good on Jacob. And based on what we saw last night on Monday Night Raw, we shall see what happens next with this.
Mm-hmm.
So the next match was a fatal four-way tag team match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, where you had Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. By the way, I absolutely love the butterfly thing they were doing, which I thought was really cool. Bailey and Lyra Valkyria, the Irresistible Forces, coming out with the throwback to Demolition. Oh my god, I popped for that. My lady is like, Poppy, what is that they're wearing? I'm like geeking out over this. I'm like, you don't understand. I said, that's Demolition. Paying out was the Demolition. And they showed Axe and Smash on at ringside, and I thought that was so cool. And I saw a picture they just took in the back, and
Mm-hmm.
Axe even had one of the white spikes on, and I'm just like, whew. I said, that's my childhood, man. So I would have loved that they would have come out the Demolition's music. Now that would have been really cool.
Yeah, for sure.
And of course, the final team was the Bella Twins, and of course, there had been rumors that Nikki and wasn't going to be able to appear in the match due to an injury. Now, I had intel on Paige signing with WWE before the dirt sheets happened. I'll talk to you about that offline, but I had intel on that, and I'm just like, okay, I ain't saying anything. But of course, the news comes out, and I'm just like, well, I think they may have spoiled who I thought was going to be Bree's tag team partner, and
Yeah.
of course it was Paige. Huge pop regardless, and it was so good to see her back. Um, Everything. I mean, again, when you talk about these type of matches with a fatal four way, not just with singles but with a tag, it's just anything goes, and it's like you're not looking for the most technical wrestling. You're just looking for a really good flow of a really good match.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime you got a Bailey in there, or Charlotte Flair, or you got Alexa Bliss, and all these veterans, Nia Jax, there was enough veterans in this match to make sure that everything went smoothly. What were your thoughts on it?
Um, I we gotta wrap up the Bella Twins because at this point they try to give them these tag titles together so many times and it has not worked out. So I think that's a sign. Hey. But if that were the case, then they could have just had Lash and Nia retain, as far as I'm concerned. But I think we all knew the Bellas and Paige were going to win that. But yeah, I just at this point, I think we need to wrap that project up.
Well, I guess that may have been an homage to Total Divas, because let's not forget they were
Yeah, I
all
get
on
it.
Total Divas, right?
I get it, but
It wouldn't be. You know what though? Now with this TKO thing, would I be shocked if they brought back Total Divas? Absolutely not.
yeah,
So that might be of a preview of things to come. But nonetheless, welcome back, Paige. She said at the post show that she so feels good to be back home because WWE is she got signed when she was 18. You know what I
hmm
mean? And all of her trials and tribulations that she's gone through personally, I am so glad to see her on the other side of that too. That's
yeah,
super important as well. So big ups to Saraya, and hopefully she may win some big gold down the road. All right, and actually that match went 8 minutes 33 seconds. So the next match was a singles match for the women's intercontinental championship.
hmm
Becky Lynch challenging AJ Lee. I loved AJ's entrance where she had those little girls, skipping around like her, and she had her nieces with her too. That I thought that was really cool. And for any kid that does stuff like that, entrances like was it 39 where they had the Make a Wish kids, with John Cena. I'm like, you know what, man, that's what it's all about, man. It's like the kid, like when you bring kids to a wrestling show, they're happy, they're genuinely
hmm
happy, and they're excited to be there. But of course, there was some chicanery in this match. Obviously, Becky and her heel tactics, doing all that type of stuff. What were your thoughts on the match?
um, I thought AJ was gonna win, so that's kind of interesting. But also, based on kind of like how it went after the match, it sounds like AJ's gonna take some time off, or maybe she's done. I don't know. So that also kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously, it was a nice way you make it again. It wasn't a clean finish, and that she took the belt. First of all, Jessica Carr almost went to fisticuffs with Becky Lynch. I'm like, okay, let's go. You know what I mean? But obviously, Becky Lynch, she slipped that turnbuckle off, and AJ hit her head on it. Becky does the manhandle slam and gets the 1, 2, 3, and new women's intercontinental champion was a third reign now for Becky Lynch. All right, the next match, which again was probably one of the best matches on throughout the weekend, Gunther versus Seth Rollins, and again, nothing I can really complain about. It was a solid wrestling match that, again, I think what we were talking about last week about obviously this tying in with the Vision and Gunther, Paul Heyman owing him a favor and all that. It kind of ties in because of how the match ended. Of
hmm
course, we were all speculating. I think you did too about the possibility of Braun
Yeah.
Breaker coming in to interfere, and he did a 75-yard. Well, not 75, not yet, but he was on the side of the ramp because the guy I think it was Brock Lesnar guy on that's on Twitter. I think he recorded Braun literally just waiting there in the back or at the top of the ramp,
hmm
waiting to get the cue to go, and he spears Seth Rollins and Gunther. Actually makes him submit. But here's the crazy thing: WWE on Twitter said Seth Rollins had tapped out, but there was a community note that says
No, he
no,
didn't.
he did
Yeah.
not tap out. I thought that was hilarious. I'm like, damn, you got a community note on your own tweet. That is bad. But of course, now the beatdown happens on Seth. And I mean, you see Heyman at the top of the ramp, and Braun walks back and hugs him, and then he does a 75-yard dash down the ramp and spears Seth Rollins. So it reignited that feud, and now they have a destination to go. Where it's going to be, I don't know, because there's a lot. You figure there's backlash, and then there's what Night of Champions, whatever it might be, and there's plenty of space as far as how they're gonna conclude the feud or how they're gonna make it continue. But we'll see. But Gunther does get the win because again, again Gunther's in a weird spot right now. Is this safe to say?
Yeah.
I mean, he was the hottest heel in the wintertime,
hmm
and it's kind of cooled off a little bit.
It's just an awkward space where it's like everything is so busy. He just kind
Right.
of blends to the background, but it's weird because like, why is Gunther blending into the background?
He shouldn't be. He should be the hottest heel in the company right now.
Mm-hmm.
That man put away Goldberg, John Cena, and AJ Styles in a matter of like 4 or 5 months,
Mm-hmm.
and that should have been far more highlighted. But hey man, I guess they have selective memory, I guess, when it comes to their own stories. But that's neither here nor there. But that match went 17, almost 18 minutes. That match almost went, so they had a lot of time,
Mm-hmm.
for the match. Of course, the semi-main was the women's world championship. Liv Morgan challenging Stephanie Vaquer. Now, I don't care what. Again, it's my opinion. I am a big pop music fan. I absolutely loved Liv Morgan's entrance. Your thoughts? And if you don't like it, you can tell me. I mean, you can tell me. You be real, nah. And that's cool. That's cool. You know what I
I
mean?
saw where they was trying to go. It was
Mm-hmm.
definitely I understood the Britney Spears reference. Like
Yeah.
I saw the vision, but like
Mm-hmm.
wrap that up, wrap that experiment up.
But you know what though? The fact that they're doing more character work with her, trouble, the name of the song. I can see she's telling people I'm a bad girl, be careful with me, type of situation. I'm like, okay, I see where I kind of see where this is going. But and again, I'm a Britney Spears fan, so it kind of touched me a little bit. I'm just like, damn. I said, but she worked hard at. Listen, the video was shot really nicely. I will say that the original music video, and they were able to bring it to the forefront of WrestleMania, which has never been done before. So it was ballsy. I'll give them that. But
Mm-hmm.
they were only allowed the match only was 6 minutes and 51 seconds because apparently with Liv's injury and apparently Stephanie was a little banged up too. They just wanted to just get in and get out and call it a day. But I mean, the match was extremely short, and I wish the match was a little bit longer. But nonetheless, you have a new women's world champion, Liv Morgan, and we'll move on to the next match. The main event was for the undisputed WWE Championship. Cody Rhodes defending against Randy Orton. Now, during the ring introductions, because obviously Pat McAfee came down with Randy Orton. And he does Randy Orton's introduction. I mean, I was just like, oh my God, when is this going to end? You know what I mean? And, Cody Rhodes gets introduced. And all of a sudden, the match doesn't even start because they're going to fisticuffs. And of course, they're on the outside, and then out of the blue, Cody was the code breakers, not code breakers. He does the crossroads to McAfee, takes him on the outside, and who appears? Not Joe Hendry, because we didn't say his name. Oh, he here. Jelly Roll appears out of the blue and does an elbow drop or a splash on the table, and it takes Pat McAfee out. So I guess that was a way of trying to get yeah. Go ahead, go
Nope. Nope.
ahead. So the match. This is before the match starts, ladies and gentlemen. And in my head, I'm like, this match did not need this.
No, it did
That's
not.
the part. That's the part that was puzzling me. I'm like, this. It did not need all of these shenanigans.
Mm-hmm.
It
There was
didn't. Like,
already a history there. There was already stuff there. We didn't need to add extra spices to it. Like it was fine.
call me crazy. I would have rather had seen. Now, granted, I don't like the guy because he took advantage of people. If they would have had DiBiase Jr. do a run in, I can see it. I get it because he was a part of that history.
Mm-hmm.
He's a piece of crap taken from underprivileged people. I might add. The man was found innocent, but we all
He did
know
that shit.
he did it. Like that. What Dave Chappelle say one time about OJ? That nigga did that shit. So yeah, so it was no surprise. But no, if he was there, I would have been like, okay, you got me, I get it. But it did not need. But then they were talking about how it was supposed to have been Aleister Black. You know what I'm saying? That was supposed to have been involved in this, and I guess he was gonna tell him to punt him, but he didn't punt him, and he loses, and then Aleister Black will be waiting and say, "I told you, saying I told you so." But this goes back to something that happened with Corey Graves when he got taken off of commentary. Remember when he was talking about how TKO was saying that they wanted Pat McAfee instead of Corey Graves because Pat McAfee was the bigger star? this basically proves Corey Graves right.
Mm-hmm.
Who's doing a fantastic job, I might add, considering all that he's doing across PLEs, Raw, SmackDown, whenever he's called upon, and even calling the action at AAA. So
Mm-hmm.
good on him. But it didn't need all the gaga.
Yeah, I agree.
It didn't. I mean, the match. I mean, now there was also reports on Randy Orton had allegedly had been injured or hurt. I don't know if he was. They were playing into that because he was favoring the back, but nonetheless, Cody gets busted open. Randy Orton gets busted open, and he got. I think he got Cody with the RKO, and I even think Randy tried to get him with the Crossroads. Cody did the RKO on Randy Orton, but nonetheless, Cody was able to get the Crossroads because Pat McAfee comes down with a neck brace on with a referee because the referee gets knocked out,
Mm-hmm.
and McAfee's going to count. Orton hits McAfee with the RKO, and then Cody comes behind us with the Crossroads and gets the pin 1, 2, 3, and he retains. But man, oh man, what happened after the match was crazy. Something that was unintentional, obviously, but Randy Orton hits Cody in the head with the belt, and then he punched him for real. Because man, if you guys saw Monday Night Raw last night and saw the condition of Cody's eye, man, that was nasty. Like, can
Mm-hmm.
you imagine your shin hitting somebody's eye? I
Nope.
mean, and that's how WrestleMania ultimately goes off the air with Cody completely laid out, and I'm just like, okay, that's obviously this is not the end of WrestleMania. Night one, yeah, but so on a grade, this is on the Gabble meter. What do you give WrestleMania Night One? A
A
C?
solid C plus.
I gave it a C plus as well, and the plus, believe it or not, the plus was really because of me. Well, let me just take a look here. What was the match that's going to go in my notes here? Yeah, the Gunther Seth Rollins match.
Yeah.
That's it. Like that was the only thing that kind of saved it, to be honest with you.
It tipped the scale. Yeah, that was it. I
Yeah,
agree. C. C plus.
absolutely. So was it night one where that announcement was made?
What announcement?
Bianca.
Two.
That was
Wait.
night two? Was it night one?
Two.
It
Two.
was night two?
Two.
Okay.
Two. Yeah. Two.
It was night two. Okay, got it. All right. And we'll get to that in a second. All right, so we start off night two. Obviously John Cena comes back down and welcomes everybody to WrestleMania. And first match on the card, again, free on ESPN, Obafemi against Brock Lesnar. Now, I'm just like, man, this man's gonna have to strut 75 yards.
And did.
I'm just like, damn, like his arms are gonna be tired by the time he gets there. And Brock comes out. I did not know how short this match was going to be,
Yes, you
but
did. Yes, you
yeah,
did.
dude.
You didn't. You did. Let me
I
stop you
was
there.
hope I was
Let me
hoping it
stop you there.
wasn't. I was hoping it wasn't, but 4 minutes and 46 seconds. Brock gives him an F5. He gets up. He chokeslams this man and gets him into his power bomb and pins him 1, 2. I mean, first of all, I haven't like popped for a match like that in a long time. Like start like an opening match for anything for a young wrestler who has only been wrestling maybe 4 or 5. Was it 2022 he got there? Where he
I
was
think
on the
so.
yeah, he was only been there 4 years. And the fact that he has captivated an audience the way that he has. Everybody, kids, women, people of all walks of life doing that strut, man. I'm doing the strut in my living room, man. Like I was like, this guy is money. Ah man, what were your thoughts on the match? We'll talk about the aftermath in just a second, but what were your thoughts on how Brock was able to make this kid look so good?
like I said last week, when Brock wants to do the job, Brock will do the job. Like there's you know what I mean? Like he set this kid up for success, which is when you are at that stage in your career you should be doing.
Right.
So, and we also know Brock likes to do his match and go home. So we all knew he was opening regardless of who he was facing. He even when
Right.
he had the title, he goes
He opened at
home
WrestleMania 35. It's like, I'm out of here.
and did.
But
And that's what saved him when he was in Saudi. The fact that he grabbed his match up and he went home where they all got stuck. So like again, when Brock wants to do the job, Brock can do the
right.
job. So like, and then when you see the end, you understand why the match was so short, right?
Yeah, and what I didn't know, because I was rewatching it a little earlier just to kind of get do my notes and everything, and you saw Brock taking off his gloves, and you saw Wade Barrett pat. I mean, he was doing this to Michael Cole because they didn't know this was
We didn't know.
happening.
No one
No
knew.
one knew. He took off his, and I was
Heyman
like,
did.
nobody knew, and I'm like, oh really? And again, my lady, my daughter, they don't really understand the significance of like that type of stuff. I said when anybody is taking off their boots or anything like that and they're laying it in the ring, that they're done.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, oh, she was like, oh, I didn't know. Wow. So because in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, Minneapolis SummerSlam is going to be the swan song.
And I think that's what we all thought, and that's why he didn't do it. Because I think there was an interview that he did recently where they asked him, and he was like, "You, we'll get there when we get there. You won't know. I want it to be a thing." So I think because we all expected it to happen during SummerSlam, he was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Not so fast. I'm gonna do it now." Um, it made sense.
Right.
It made sense. Like I said, when he wants to do the job, he will do the job. But hit me up to be good. So
Because when he came back at SummerSlam, I was at first I'm like, okay, with all of this hovering over his head, why is he back?
and
That's the
and,
first thing.
and he said too, like, I'm not gonna be here for long. I'm showing up to wrap things up, and then I'm going home.
Right. I did see that. I forgot what interview or which platform he was on, but he basically said that I think it was like hockey podcast that's on Netflix, I believe. I forgot the name of it because
Yeah,
Tom
it
Brady was
wasn't a
on there
WWE
before.
thing because he doesn't
No,
do
no, 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 no,
interviews.
no, 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 no.
He doesn't. So the fact that he even gave an interview was crazy. But like, no, he doesn't. He's not a social. You're never gonna catch him at a meet and greet. You're never gonna.
No,
I mean,
no,
like,
no, no.
you're never. That's never gonna happen. So
No, that's not happening with him. But well, cool. I mean, number one, that he was able to put. He must have seen this kid and saw something. He may have saw maybe what I guess what he sees a lot of himself and over
that, and like I
Femi.
said, there was a level of respect there because he threw shot put. He was a shot put champion. His daughter is a shot put champion. She won on her.
Right,
She won NCAAs on her first throw. Like, there was a
right,
level of respect there of understanding. Like, I'm not here on my family name. I am not here because I am a third generation wrestler. I am here because I want to be here and I
hmm
am an athlete and I'm powerful, as opposed to others who have entered the business. Like, I'm not here to garner social media attention, right?
right.
So I'm never gonna say thank you, Brock, but bye, Brock.
Yeah, I mean, I have my feelings on a lot of things regarding that situation, and again, had she not spoke up about it, again, we would have never known. But now that it
Correct.
is out, it's like I can't really say to your point, thank you, because I'm just like, uh, go Mark Merrill. That's all I got to say about that, and I'll leave that at that because I don't know if you saw Mark Merrill's recent interview about
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
some nasty work. So bye. All right, next match, the six pack ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. You had the champion Penta defending against Javon Evans, Dragon Lee, JD McDonough, Handsome Rusev, and the legend Rey Mysterio. First off, I mean, again, any type of match like this, especially when you got the high flyers like Penta and Javon Evans and Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee, like you're gonna see. Because I don't consider JD McDonough to be a high flyer, although he's a smaller guy. He's more of a tactician, so I don't put him in that category. And obviously Rusev was the power was the muscle in this match, and I think they had to use that to balance that out, which is totally fine by me. Um, there were instances I thought Rusev was going to win the Intercontinental Championship. I actually thought that was happening during the match. Um, I honestly, because remember last week, my pick was like if they want to put the shine on Javon Evans, I think this would be the match to do it. But I wasn't upset on
It
the
made
end of it.
sense for
It,
Penta
it
to
made
go
sense.
over.
Absolutely. 15 minutes, 8 seconds. Your thoughts on the match?
It was a great match. And a lot of spots in it. Excuse me. I understood why Penta won. It made sense for Penta to win. I'm not mad at it.
I'm
Who's
not
to
mad
say that
either. No.
Javon won't win it somewhere else? There are so many
Mm-hmm.
PLEs. They drop one every couple of weeks at WWE these days. Um, and he still got his moment. So like, it's still a win for Javon Evans at the end of the day.
Right,
It's a
right, right.
win-win.
100%. And to me, again, he is only
It's a
21
baby.
years old.
Mhm.
I mean, truly, he's 21. And it's like there is so much career ahead of him. Like he's gonna spend. I believe he's gonna spend his entire career in WWE,
He
barring
ain't
any
going nowhere.
injuries. Barring no. They see he's money. I was watching Raw last night with my son, and he's kind of starting to get into it a little bit. And the minute that he saw 6'7" on Javon Evans' t-shirt, he's like, "Oh my God, 6'7!" And he's doing these flips, and now he likes Javon Evans. It's like that's the type of wrestler that you want. You know, when you especially when you have that kid demographic, he's the one that's going to be the meet and greets and all. He's
Hmm.
man, the sky's the limit for him. You know what I mean? But like I said,
Hmm.
I had no problem to your point. I had no problem with Penta retaining because to be honest, it really these type of matches anybody can win the match. So the fact that the champion was able to come out on top says a lot. So
Right.
kudos to Penta, and I mean they're doing him and his brother Ray Phoenix are doing awesome work in the WWE. The next match, the United States Championship, Trick Williams with the Lil Yachty challenge Sami Zayn. Yeah, let me tell you, if Lil Yachty stops rapping and becomes WWE full time, he will be one of the best managers. I'm telling you. I mean, he was in there bumping. He was taking bumps and doing this and doing spots and all of that. But man, Trick Williams and that long train that he had on the bottom of his mink coat.
It's CVS receipt. Hmm.
I mean, yeah, that was funny by the way. Whoever did that, somebody took the time to put a CVS receipt on Trick Williams' train on the picture. That was just hilarious. That was too funny. But here's an interesting spot that he's in right now. Now he's supposed to be a heel,
Hmm.
but I think he's following in
He,
that trap that The
he
Rock
can't.
fell into in 1999, around the time that he was in the corporation and all this other stuff. And no matter what The Rock said, the fans were just repeating, "No, no, no, no! This ain't sing along with the champ," and all that stuff. And it's getting to the point where it's like, yo, Trick, wait, you have again, it's gonna have to happen organically. I don't think that Trick Williams is gonna come out and say, "Hey, I'm this good guy, come cheer me." No, they're already cheering him,
Right.
and I think they're only booing Sami Zayn, like I said last week,
Because Trish just, yeah.
because he took Carmelo Hayes' spot. But I'm like,
But now we should get Carmelo versus Trick. So then once again, like we said last year, so not last year, last show, sometimes you just got to watch it play out. It sucks that I didn't
right.
get a Mania moment, but like
No,
we
I would
still
have put. I
get.
mean, to be honest, like granted, I know that the IC title is a Raw championship, but for for argument's sake, I would have been like, "Yo, you lost the you lost the US title. How about we do this? We put you in a ladder match and see what happens. And see, I'll give you a shot at the Intercontinental Championship, so you can be on WrestleMania." I would have. If I had the pencil, knowing okay, Melo's gonna be okay, fine, he's not gonna be US champion, but we could put him in a ladder match.
Yeah.
Why not? So I wouldn't have a problem with that. But again, the match was 7 minutes, 7 minutes, 7 seconds long. I was expecting a little bit of a longer match because the biggest complaint was from night one that everybody was talking about online that the matches were just way hella short. Now the matches were much longer on night two of WrestleMania, but for this championship match, I thought it would have been a little longer, but I guess they wanted to really
Yeah.
highlight Trick, to get that win. and it was pretty much the statement. Okay, he's going to be our guy on SmackDown. That upper tier mid card level he's going to be on. And again, maybe the collision course is SummerSlam with him and Mello, and they got history. So we'll see where all that lies. All right, we got a street fight between Dominic Mysterio and the Demon Finn Balor. That interest was incredible by Finn. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I thought when my daughter like pops for something, that means it really catches her attention because she was like, "Oh my god, how did he was able to pick?" And I had to show him his New Japan stuff. You know what I mean? And she was like, "Oh, he gets detailed like that." I said, "Yeah, he does." I said, "He hadn't done this in 3 years." So that's why everybody. I wish they wouldn't have revealed that he was going to be the demon.
Yeah.
That pop would have been huge. But nonetheless, it was great. It was a great presentation, and again, the match went 10 minutes, 20 seconds long, and to be honest, like it was a street fight, but it wasn't. They weren't getting like gully like in the crowd or anything like that. It was. They had a few weapons and some tables in a chair. That's it. But I don't know. What were
Great
your thoughts
match,
on?
great chemistry. Great match, great
Right
chemistry. I'm like I said, I'm glad that Finn finally got the win. He's been needing it. Hopefully, we get the party going.
now, who I thought was going to confront Roman last night was going to be Finn Balor. Now, granted, he wrestled JD McDonough last night, but I thought is Finn going to be back into the world title picture? You know what I mean? But I guess that must be for later on down the line. Um, I think Dominic, to me, and this is just me saying, I think he's outgrown the Judgment Day.
Duh.
I think
Yes.
that now I like the fact that the progression was, hey, he started out as this kid that they had to beat him up and to get him into the group to the point where it's like he's kind of done this, but he's levels above everybody at this point. No disrespect to the ladies by any means, because I
Hmm.
love all three of those girls that are in there. JD McDonough is a hot hand, but I just think that I think Judgment Day is kind of worn out as welcome. I think,
Hmm.
and I think they should move on to something else.
Agreed.
And you know what I mean. But who knows? But I know I'm hoping for if Ray decides to hang it up. I hope Dom is the one that's gonna get him out of there. So we'll leave a pen in that. The next match, the WWE Women's Championship, Rhea Ripley challenged Jade Cargill. Somebody online was calling Rhea San Martino, and I'm just like,
Mm.
oh my god, the fans are turning on her now. I mean, talk to me. Like, I guess are they doing the same thing to her that the fans are doing to Charlotte?
I think it's interesting that Rhea wanted to cry white woman tears about Jade. And but when they were getting with Liv Morgan, she's like, everybody relax, leave Liv Morgan alone. But she didn't do that for Jade. I think there's a genuine
Mm,
dislike there. Um,
right.
it's very obvious there's a genuine dislike. It's not like oh, we're gonna put on this, we're gonna work this thing. And then at the end of the day, we're gonna go back to gorilla and hug. Like, nah, fam, they genuinely don't like each
Don't like
other.
each other.
And that's okay. You ain't gonna like everybody. I like it, right? I like a little spice in my life. Um, I do think it was the wrong call to have Rhea win, though. Not gonna lie to you
I
on that
that
one.
I
That
agree
should have
with.
been
I
Jade.
agree.
I think it should have been Jade. However, it was Jade's best match she's ever had.
And I said it on
It may
X
have
the other
been
night.
Rhea. It might have been one of Rhea's better matches.
I
I
agree.
will say that. That is the caveat to all of this, is that
100%.
they put on a really good match. And I know I hate seeing things ran back, but if they ran that back at Backlash, I wouldn't even be mad.
I wouldn't be mad either. And I said this on X. I said for all of y'all that was saying that Jay can't work, like y'all
The
gotta kill that
one
noise at
wing
this point.
angel. Wrap it up. Wrap the
Oh yeah,
combos up at this
absolutely.
point.
And Kenny Omega spoke out. He said the fact that I see it on the one wing angel
Or
at
Mania.
WrestleMania. So Kenny, hurry your ass up and come over to WWE. Because I
Yeah.
guarantee you, if Kenny had an option to kind of say, you know what, let me all make this money. I'm pretty sure Triple H and those
If
guys
Cody
would.
can come back, anyone can. If
Who?
Cody can leave an EVP to come over to WWE, what makes you think he can't? I'm gonna leave it at that and let you ponder and let the world ponder on that one.
And be mindful that Kenny was in the he was in the developmental system. Let's not forget he was in Deep South Wrestling with all those guys. Was it Kofi Kingston, The Miz, MVP, all those guys. Kenny
Mm-hmm.
Omega was down there. So, I mean, first of all, I think the WWE would roll out the red carpet for Kenny Omega. I truly believe that. I truly
Yeah.
believe that he has star power. He's a global superstar, and the fact that he's up there in age at this point, and I
Mm-hmm.
mean it's a much to me I think WWE is a much safer style if I could say, and this is
Mm-hmm.
no offense to AEW and what they do, but we all know AEW can be a little reckless at times. They can,
Mm-hmm.
and as you can see, there's a lot of people that are hurt right now because of that. So we'll see. But no, I actually loved the match. It was I was just saying, damn, Jade is in there like getting busy in there.
Mm-hmm.
Psychology, all of that stuff. And sometimes it could take you to maybe be in a ring with a Rhea Ripley to saying, all right, and you're in there with someone that's been there and
Mm-hmm.
done it, and you're able to get up to the level. And I'm not saying Jade was a bad wrestler, but I just felt she became a better wrestler.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying? So this wasn't
Mm-hmm.
bad. And I just think that, and I mean, granted, off top, not want to say off topic, but I mean, hell, she released her DMs a week or so ago, and I'm just like, I mean, are we shocked? No, but it's just like, guys, that's all. That word that I refuse to even give power, but I don't use it. Is that's the only thing that you could ever conjure up to talk about somebody that looks like me or looks like Gabby? I mean, come on, guys. It's like I think that because you're sitting behind, a keyboard or your smartphone or your smart device or whatever, and you think you can just say whatever you want to say again. But I guarantee you, if you met that person in real life, you're gonna be wanting an autograph or to sign a pop up. What do you call those toys that you can sell on eBay? You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like, it's like fans are really really weird, and it's just like I'm sick. And to me, I've been sitting back and I've been holding back because I didn't want to. I didn't want to be that guy that's like talking about that and that type of stuff. But that's ridiculous. That's really really
Never
ridiculous.
fails, unfortunately.
It doesn't. So again, Rhea does win. I love the exchange in how she won the match. So
Mm-hmm.
good on her on that. And of course, the main event. Holy sheesh, 33 minutes and 56 seconds. Roman Reigns against CM Punk. Now, anybody that knows me knows my fondness for CM Punk and his journey from the beginning, and the fact because he had been alluding to it, living little snippets on his Instagram story from lyrics from Miseria Cantere by AFI, the band known as A Fire Inside. And it was a song that he came out to in Ring of Honor. Believe it or not, he actually used that song when he was in OVW when he first got signed.
Mm-hmm.
And he used it once in AEW in that match against MJF in that dog collar match at AEW Revolution. And it was crazy that because of the age demographic, there was only people like my age and up that knew about that song. But he had been alluding to it, so I'm thinking, yo, if Punk comes out to this, man, that's gonna be crazy. And the way they shot the city of Las Vegas with that song and how they did it with Punk sitting on top of the stadium and all that stuff was just pulled at my heartstrings. I'm like, oh my god, this is incredible. I said, this is what Punk wanted. Win, lose, or draw, like this is what Punk wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so happy for that dude. But anyways, what did you think about the match? What were your thoughts on the camaraderie of the match and how it went?
They had amazing chemistry. They probably had better chemistry than Punk and Seth. Like they were able to have a balance with each other where they were able to play off of each other's strengths and weaknesses.
Right.
It was just a great match, um, match of the night easily.
That was match of the weekend, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, the storytelling was incredible. But here's the thing. Here's the story. Punk has now lost the world championship to all three
The Shield.
members of the Shield. The thing that he put together. If that's not story, and that's the thing, Punk is willing to do the job. That's not a problem if it makes sense. And boom. And after his promo last night on Raw, you totally forgot that he lost.
Hmm.
That's the thing. And his jacket, his tribute jacket, was incredible. You know, obviously shouting out his wife's homeland, Puerto Rico, and of course the three WWE employees that had passed away. And then on, of course, the back of the jacket was the king with the purple crown for Harley Race, who went by King Harley Race in WWE. You know, he was on the kind of on the downward end of his career. But all in
And
all,
Larry.
and Larry, I can't forget about
Can't forget
Larry.
about Big Larry.
Absolute Larry, man. And so it was Punk, like he to me, it's like he's in a really, really good place, man. And it's like
Hmm.
I'm happy for him as a longtime fan. You can see that jersey license plate behind me right now that I got from WrestleMania 29 that I've had for years, and it's now in my studio because again, my favorite wrestler, and I'm so happy, really, really happy of the match that he put on, and him being the true main eventer that he is. He's always been, and I'm glad that we finally got to see him in his true element. And I got to give Roman his props too because Roman came to play, man, and it's like I love what they were able to do and all of that. Well, before we get out of here, guys, you know, again, thank you guys for those that listened to the show last week. The audio, unfortunately, there was some discrepancies with video. I'm working on that to get that on the YouTube, but you can follow the show, you know, at the D-Lou podcast on all social platforms. You can follow me, of course, on all social platforms at the real DT Lou. And don't forget, guys, my clothing line, Jersey Rebel, is coming June 1st. So make sure you follow Jersey Rebel on all social platforms at Jersey Rebel Clothing. X and Blue Sky are the only two platforms. It's called Jersey Rebel Clo. Make sure that you follow it on there. Gabby, tell them where they can follow you.
You guys can find me at Hi Gabrielle on all social media.
All right. Well, guys, it's been a pleasure, you know, to once again bring you the D-Lou podcast. And again, I'm glad that I'm back. I'm glad that Gabby's back. And that's the missus. So I got to go. Take care, guys. See you next time.